Welcome back to Who-Bangin Sports Talk. Y'all know exactly what it is and who it is. It's Trout Wham on Twitter. I'm back here. If you hear me perfectly, you know what I'm saying? I'm back. We're here to break down and make the first episode of the playbook, episode 1, NFC West and South preview for the 2023-24 season. I'm excited, y'all. I'm very excited. Um, didn't even put up the banner, man. I'm out here slapping. I'm slacking. This is episode 1 right now. We're gonna break down the NFC West and South. Be tuned in, like and share, comment. We will put your comments up if you are live, which is live on Twitter right now. If you are rewatching this, we appreciate you. We're gonna get right into it. That way we won't waste anybody else's time. We've been talking already for a minute. Damn, that's fast. You know what I'm saying? That fast. But here, the NFC West is going to be the first up. And I'm starting off with the Arizona Cardinals, bro. And starting off with the Arizona Cardinals, the win total right now is at 4.5. And these win totals that I'm going to be presenting is going to be based off of just FanDuel alone. We're just going to keep it simple. Give it to FanDuel. Based off the message there, you're able to get that available across wide mostly. Arizona Cardinals, the win total is at 4.5. The strength of schedule, the SOS is what you're seeing here on the banner here. Strength of schedule ranked is at 11th. So we will break it into that. Last year they finished 4 and 13th, 1 and 8 at the house, 1 and 5 in the division. Cardinals, they fired Cliff Kingsbury. They hired Jonathan Goldman, who's already reporting to change the culture. You know what I'm saying? Stuff's already starting to. They already getting the little fluff out there, so they're putting out there. We yet to see if that's going to make dividends. Yet to see there. I'm kind of projecting them to be similar to where they are right now, though, like 4.5, maybe 5-win team, maybe even 6-win team. It's a tough, brutal stretch for this Arizona Cardinals. In my opinion, I think it's going to be really tough for them. Let's talk about what they got rid of last year. Last year they got rid of D Hop, J.J. Watt, obviously. The defensive men from about 5 of the top 5 of the top 12 leading tacklers is going to be gone from the last year, which is it doesn't make a big difference. You're not going to see a beast standing out like guys like Zach Allen, who was a sack leader for his career. So he got a bag, got a little check in. You know what I'm saying? Got a little check-in over there at the Broncos. But you're not going to see that make a big step. But I think it is going to make a big step because you're changing the culture they supposedly doing. You're getting rid of quarterback. I mean, not the quarterback, but the coach. You get rid of the GM. The GM come in, they change the whole little shit up. So you kind of give guys like Kyler Murray, and this is what people have been saying lately, giving guys like Kyler Murray a little bit of a little way out. You know what I'm saying? He's been taking that same way out. He's been kind of throwing the blame on the GM and being happy about the culture changing. We're going to get to that. You know, he said there are things that we were doing that were sustainable. You know what I'm saying? Saying shit like that to the media after the fact. So, you know, it's no accountability. A lot of people are saying with Kyler Murray right now, whatever the case. So you're doing that. Then you are losing out on, not saying J.J. Watt was a big deal, but you're getting out on certain guys, like I said, Zach Allen, certain guys that just, you know, that was improving, making a stride there. And then you throwing in some of these young kids. They're drafted, I believe, Dante Stills, tight end. I'm sorry, a defensive tackle. Then also I like the upside there with B.J. Ojulari, the rookie edge rusher. And then also they may be making a little gamble here with Garrett Wilson based off of his knee issues. But for the most part, there is a good chance that, you know, it could be a high risk, high reward situation right there with Garrett Wilson. So we'll have to pay attention to that. Shout out to my boy Joey up in here on the chat. Shout out to my boy. But yeah, maybe something that we gotta look into because depending on it might be a good pick up there for them. We'll see there. Their first game is in Washington, and I'm also gonna give a shout out to my guy Drew Disnick, my guy Will Capper. He gives out a great metrics. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know, now you know. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my guy at Will Capper. He gives out great metrics for the season. You know what I'm saying? So in their first few games, it is kind of tricky. They do play the Washington Wizards. I mean, not the Washington Wizards. Come on now, Washington. The Washington Wizards, no way. The Washington Commanders. Now, it is a good story right now. It's a good story with the Washington Commanders. We know that Irvin Magic Johnson got the Washington Commanders. We're not talking about the Commanders, but the fact that they playing on the first game, they got Sam Howell pretty much already going to take the reins. We know the case on that. I think that the Cardinals, if they get Kyler Murray, because right now they're saying that he's not going to be available, or we don't know his health right now. But I'm thinking here, if Kyler Murray is available game one, they got a great chance of winning this first game. And after that, the trajectory kind of could go either way because they be able to get some sort of rest advantage within those next two games as far as travel advantage. I'm sorry, travel. They have a travel advantage against the next two opponents, which will be the other two teams in the NFC East. So their first three is NFC East opponents, which is the Commanders, the Giants, and Dallas. After that, they go against their rival in the San Francisco 49ers. And shout out to the 49er fans, which is my guy, Boss. Shout out to Boss, Rise and Grind mode. What up, though? You already know, Boss. You already know. We up in here doing it early. It's only right. We're going to get right to it. We're going to get right done with the NFL. We're going to get the break the previews down. So I believe those first few games, especially if Kyler Murray is available, that really makes or breaks the trajectory of the Cardinals, I feel like, for the season, because they are making some strides. Like I said, some strides on defense to plug in some of those holes. I believe it's interesting to see what the GM had to say based off of Kyler Murray when he was talking all that shit on Colin Hurd and all that shit. So it's really my concerns here with these guys. To go over this total, we just need these few things. Obviously, the new culture needs to be set, of course, so that's a big concern. The offense, obviously, we didn't talk about that, but having James Conner coming back in, I think that's going to be consistent. The run game is going to be consistent, so you just need them to be able to click on offense. We know the drop ball guy with the with Brown, Hollywood Brown. He dropped the balls all the time, so they definitely need more receivers that they can rely on there. But I think if Kyler Murray comes in with a real chip on his shoulder, if he gets out of his own head, does the thing that he needs to do, his knee, his heart, you know what I'm saying, does he really want it? That is a big concern for me. But with those things being said, that's the reason why I don't want to bet this damn game, bet this game, bet this team right now. I think we'll have a better chance of betting them earlier in the season because I have more confidence in them winning some of these earlier games based off of them having the travel advantage there and being able to be undervalued because, the fact that Kyler Murray may be still getting undervalued, yada, yada. So that's how I'm looking at this Cardinals team to start the first few weeks and to start the season off. And as far as what they did in the offseason, I think they have made some sort of holes to be corrected. I do like that Buda Baker. Hold on. I'm probably thinking something different. Yeah. I like that Buda Baker is going to be coming into this season as well, training camp, which is like today or tomorrow, something around there. So I like that he's going to be available, even though he was requesting a trade. I like that. Gives me a reason that maybe he is changing the culture as far as Goldman, as far as the head coach with the Arizona Cardinals. Maybe he is changing the culture. So I am going to be a little bit more optimistic than most. I think they have a good chance of getting at least 5 wins here. You know what I'm saying? And they could do it early. They could get a few of these games early. That's what I believe. So I'd rather take them early to win games with money lines or possibly with spread looks or things like that, rather than put my money for a future spot here with the Arizona Cardinals. And that's the reason why I'm not betting it at all. But we will be talking about it because we have to too. It's only right. So the next game, next team, next one is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles Rams is very interesting. They mortgage their future for a championship. I know it to be a fact because I had the inside scoop. You feel me? I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I had the inside scoop when they was winning the championship. I knew they was gonna win. It was only fucking right. And now that I think about it, they definitely mortgaged their future here, and it does seem to bite them in the butt from here on out. It seems so. So They finished last year 5-12 after winning the Super Bowl, like I just mentioned. It feels like they gave it all away, like I mentioned. Cooper Cup was hurt, um, down the stretch. He has been in rehab for quite a while, so he can get himself back into dominant form. So I don't second guess that whatsoever. I think that he's still a good, viable option. The only thing is that if you're asking me as a fantasy owner, I'm going to avoid drafting Cooper Cup for sure, just based off of that alone. And on top of that, they really rely on him and Sam. I'm sorry, Matt Stafford. They really rely on each other. You know what I'm saying? To be able to be dominant, whatever the case. So, and if their offense is not good, this team sucks ass. And obviously, Cam Akers being able to get the job back last year is kind of shaky. I still think that they have it in them to replace his ass. You know what I'm saying? I still think they have it in them to replace him. So I don't want to think too much about them. Being able to stick to him being a number one starting role back, even though I think he's going to have that title coming in. Aaron Donald should have retired probably. He should have got on, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that he's sticking around, he's keeping the G, doing his thing. Thing that is interesting for me with this team is the fact that, not only was the coach giving out the information to the media, because let's just be honest, he probably was giving out the information to media. This is allegedly here. I'm just gonna say allegedly, you know what I'm saying, giving out the information to the media about him retiring. That being said, they were able to get out and go get an offensive coordinator, which was from the Jets, Mike LaFleur. I think that's interesting because he's going to give them a little bit more tactics about the 49ers offensive system. So I think that's going to give them a little bit more of advantage there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that play pans out there. But I think that it's going to be interesting. I like the head coaching hire. I'm sorry, the offensive coaching hire there. So I'm going to see how that plays out. I want to see how Cooper Cup is going to bounce back, but I'm not going to bank on that at all. So that's another reason why I think that this is a tough spot for for the Rams. Not because they are not necessarily getting a lot of talent to return back. They weren't able to do anything. Or they weren't even they had to restructure. Let's talk about this. They had to even restructure Cooper Cup big deal that he just got to even afford their damn rookie class. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're barely the rookie class that they got. So it's just one of those things. I just don't think that this team is going to be anything better than what they already shown. They're going to be probably in the middle of the pack, worse than what they have been. I think they're going to be able to. They're going to lose possibly to the the Cardinals, the first team that we talked about. I think they're going to lose maybe even both games. I think they have the advantage with them one game against the Cardinals. I think they have the advantage against them one game, and other than that, that's it. I think I think they lose both games. It's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out there. As far as their win total is at 6.5, so it is two. Obviously, the market thinks it's going to have two games better. Their first few games is starting off tough there for them. So they're ranked ninth in strength of schedule, ninth toughest in the league there. As far as the win percentage of their opponents from last year, it was at 53%. So they was above 500. As far as the I talked about that already. As far as I think that I'm sorry, their first 5 games. This is the thing that I think it gets tricky for them because their first game is in Seattle. After that, they go against San Francisco. Then they go against Cincinnati. Then they have another road game, which is another travel disadvantage spot against the Indiana Colts, and it does give them a rest advantage, rest advantage. I think they get a little rest advantage there, about a point there. So, but that's just here and there, and I think it's a early game as well. So having that back to back being that they home team, they're going all the way East Coast as well. Going to Cincinnati, staying in the Midwest, staying in Indiana. I think they're going to stay. They most likely probably will stay and go to Indiana there. That would be probably the smartest shit, having that back to back situation there. But that alone, being out there on the road for those 2 weeks, it's going to be tough for a whole team there. I think they're gonna have a tough time. So I think that this Rams team, as much as I don't trust them to put any money on them, I don't trust them to win any of these few games either. Um, it's just giving me enough to just not want to have confidence in just two guys staying healthy in Stafford and Cooper Cup. Those two guys are going to be dictating their success here on out. Shout out to my guy Dabby Cad. Wham up early for the money is only fucking right, my boy. You already know. We up in here. I had to put the damn shit on. Come on, man. Jesus. All right, but yeah, so that's the Rams there. We're gonna leave it at that. I don't have any. I don't really have too much of an opinion there with the Rams. I'm gonna leave the Rams alone. But this next team, obviously, I think they're gonna be better than the Rams. You know what I'm saying? It's the Seattle Seahawks. Win total is at 8.5. Strength of schedule is tied for 12th, and that's based off of this team's accumulated combined record from last year. Last year they finished 9-8. Went to the playoffs after setting it high after getting rid of Russell Wilson, getting a lot of draft picks. Denver looking crazy. The man showed resurgence in Geno Smith. Ended up getting paid. Great story. All that within there. They're even able to bring Bobby Wagner back in the offseason, which I do love as well. So I do like that they're to get cut ties with the old guys. So, hey, bring Bobby Wagner back, being a next hand in hand, give a culture to the new young kids that they bringing in off of those picks that they got from the Broncos. So it's funny as hell how that shit end up being, how everything pans out for you. So the best deep passer last year, which was Geno Smith. I think he had a 99.2 passing rating on 20 plus yards thrown. As far as Geno Smith, they did a great thing by re-signing him. They also did a good thing by drafting Jason Smith, Nijaja, I believe, and Kenneth Walker. Both of them, I think they need them both. As far as the Sea Chickens, they also needed to get Zach. I like that how they were able to get Zach Carbonak. I always fuck his name up, so don't even worry about nothing. As far as that out of Michigan, I do like that the schedule is not as bad as well, so we could talk about that a little bit. Their first few games, as far as the schedule, obviously they play the Rams. I think they're going to win that game. I talked about that already. They have a tougher game going up against the following games. One of their toughest games against Detroit. That game is going to be tough. I think they have a chance to win, but it's going to be tough though in that game. I think that game is going to be very high stakes. I think that's a late night game as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's a late night game, so it's a national televised game. I gotta put that up. I forgot to put that up. But yeah, man, I think the Seahawks have the chance to win that game against Detroit. I'm very high on Detroit. I'll talk about that later, but I'm very high on the Seattle Seahawks as well. So both of those teams are going to be pretty much playing lights out there. So yeah, so week 5 is a bye following week 5 is week 6. They have a home matchup against the AFC champs. I believe they have a battle within division, going probably about 10 for 7, 4 for 2 in the division. I think they are going to split with San Francisco, win one game. San Francisco wins the other game. It's even their Thursday night game is pretty interesting for the Seattle Seahawks. They don't have like the back-to-back Thursday night. They have a back-to-back Thursday night, so they have Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I have that. Let me pull it up for sure. Double check. Yeah. Yeah, I think they. Damn, hold on. I thought I had that. Oh, damn, I don't have it. Oh, there we go. All right, my fault, y'all. All right, so yeah, so they do have the back to back Thursday night game though. So it's one on Thanksgiving and after that it's Thursday night game. So it's not even like they have the same like short turnaround that normally happens um after Thursday after the after right after their oh shit I couldn't get it out of my mouth. I could get it out of my mouth right after their bye. I'm sorry, not their bye, but the Thursday night game. You know, you normally have that short turnaround, but since they have that Thursday night game against San Francisco, then they go follow that up with the Thanksgiving game. Uh, I'm sorry, the Thanksgiving game is the San Francisco game, or is it? I don't know which one is which. But whether either we're here nor there, it's the Dallas Cowboys after that. So I like how it sets up for them. Even their schedule down the stretch, I do like that, and that's the only reason why I was saying all that. It was just crazy. All right, so as far as this team and what I expect for them, again, I think they're going to go 10-7. They're going to be very close of winning this division. I think they are going to fall short of winning this division, just based off of this next team because there's just so much talent there. So we go straight into that as well. We're going right through it. I mean, 20 seconds in, 20 minutes in, we'd already went through three teams. How I feel about all three of them. And reason why I'm not betting the Seattle Seahawks is another reason why I'm not betting this team as well. In the San Francisco 49ers, win total is at 10.5. Strength of schedule is a lot easier and a lot cleaner at 15. 15th going here. Last year they were finished at 13-4, losing to the NFC Championship game. The offense was set sell in the offseason already just focus on defense, especially with the fact that they lost defensive coordinator D'Amico Ryans departed to Houston, the godfather of DBs, as you would say. They're saying a replacement of D'Amico Ryans is going to be Steve Wilkes. So obviously he's going to be right there focused in on making those big plays, run defensive orders to improve. Everyone has showed in the OTAs that they haven't uh, they haven't been doing anything but giving credit to Wilkes. So I think that's kind of like showing there that, they're gonna fall in line, all that good shit, whatever the case. But we're gonna see how that sets in stone, just similar to what we was talking about with the Cardinals head coach. See how that's all set in stone. So I'm gonna see how Wilkes does on the defensive coordinator. Obviously, we give a good credit to, like I said, the godfather of DBs and D'Amico Ryans, but we're gonna leave it at set there. As far as the quarterback situation, obviously we're going to see Trey Lance be the first quarterback to start off. You don't play around with that shit. You just play Trey Lance. You don't play around. I don't expect it to be that much of a big deal. Brock definitely deserves a starting job. Don't get me wrong. He's going to have his chance once Trey starts fucking up, but Trey going to get that off top. And I think he's going to do well earlier on as well because the first starting off to the season is pretty solid. I mean, they play Pittsburgh on the road, then they go against the Rams. I think they're going to beat the shit out the Rams. Then they go home to play the New York Giants, who's going to be in a terrible situation there for the New York Giants. I really like their looks there, and then they play the Cardinals. I think they're going to beat the Cardinals there. They're going to beat the following that they're going to beat the Cowboys. So I like the way it shapes out the first 5 weeks for the 49ers, and that's how I'm looking at these previews. I'm not looking at them too deep into anything. I'm looking only within the first 5 weeks. How do I think to bet these first 5 weeks, and how can we capitalize on beating the market within those first 5 weeks? Can we beat the market in the future market? And I don't feel like I could beat the future market in these first 5 weeks. I could just beat them by just simply betting those first 5 weeks within these few games that these guys have, similar to what I was talking about with the Arizona Cardinals. I think if we just simply back the 49ers within the first 5 weeks with Trey Lance, we'll be making some money. So I think that's probably the way I'm going to take the approach, along with the Cardinals. I'm going to try to back Kyler Murray being with the Cardinals being undervalued as well. So with as far as the 49ers, um, It's going to be interesting as well, figuring out the defense, seeing how that all that could stay into question there. But the main thing outside of the quarterback stuff is going to be Brandon Ayuk. Let's keep it real. Can he make that extra step? Not to be the 1A, but just be the 1B. Just be the 1B to the 1A of Samuels. Come on, like get out there, be more consistent. They're not putting you in all the plays because you can't have good blocking assignments. You're not being able to stay out there on the snap count. So I think that everything that I'm hearing about his progression when it's off season, obviously we could just be hopeful, but I'm hoping that's the case. We'll see how that is there, but I'm here for that. I'm here for that for Brandon Ayuk. I hope he is out there blocking the fucking ball. You know what I'm saying? Blocking, helping the blockers out, doing his thing with the separation, because we know he's available to be one of those top tier wide receivers. Just haven't had that consistency to stay on the field there. A lot of that shit, again, like I said, snap counts, just not being able to be out there. So I want to see how the 49ers play out. Obviously, you're going to have Chris McCaffrey. You got those guys in Mitchell. You got the offense all really ran pretty well. All you need is a guy like Trey Lance that just giving them a different dynamic, that's going to be running, that's going to be throwing the ball. I think that's going to give them just enough for them to be able to win this division. Shout out to that. Shout out to my guy G5. He said I'm late, but it's the Falcons year. You already know, bro. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that after this right here. So I think that the 49ers, they can go over this total. Like I said, I'm not really willing to put my money in there to invest in there for that long. Based off of that, I think that, again, if we just consistently bet them within the first 5 weeks, I think we're going to be able to make some money. So I do like the 49ers within those first 5 weeks. So that's how I'm going to be taking that approach there. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Everybody out there rewatching this, we appreciate y'all love, like, and subscribe. We will be having member-only shows as well when the membership starts. Be on the lookout for that. Into this next topic, it's going to be the NFC South. And I was saying all that to say, as far as the NFC West, and I'm sorry to say that, NFC West, they are going to I feel like this is going to be a tougher division than people think. As far as the Rams, I think the Rams are going to lose, be one of the weaker ones in the division. I think Arizona figures it out more than people think. Got a chance to go over that 4.5. I'm not going to invest in that. I'd rather take them to win the first few games there. But other than that, San Francisco, they're going to win this division, I think. Trey Lance has a chance of winning the whole thing, as far as the quarterback job there. And that being said, if he does win the quarterback job, I think that's only going to help San Francisco be more dynamic, be more elusive on the offensive end, and their defense is already going to be top tier. So it's the 49ers for me, and that's how I'm going to shake it up there. But let's go into this NFC South. My boy said it. Shout out to my guy, bro. Let me just put the homie comment back up. He said he late, but it's the Falcons here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So shout out to the NFC South. We're going to go right into that. And I love this next team that we're going to talk about first. And I have a lot of hope for them too. Just as much as I said about the Cardinals, I have a lot of hope for them too. It's the Carolina Panthers. Last year they finished 7th-10, starting the year 1-4 just before Matt Rule was let go. And the main thing that stick out to me was they fleeced the shit out of the. They got fleeced the shit out of the Christian McCaffrey trade. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing that stands out to me. And then you just see how they traded DJ Moore. It's just this is very disgusting. Putting that behind us and focusing on the draft there, they're able to get their quarterback of the future in Bryce Young. Adding another big addition in Miles Sanders, Hayden Hurst, and Adam Thielen, DJ Chark as well. Also, Reed Rifle, Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, as far as the backup here. So they really get stacked up as far as veteran presence. You know what I'm saying? For them to have a quarterback like Bryce Young, to hold it down there. So I like the way they did that. And then one thing that I do like the most is the Jonathan Mingo kid out of Ole Miss, big play wide receiver that they're able to pair up with um, Bryce Young. I love that look, and I love those two pairs, and I think that that's going to help them out tremendously as far as the fantasy wise. Let's talk about fantasy. These two teams, those two dudes right there, I think they're gonna be dynamic stack, bro. Very sneaky too. You could probably pick them both up because they don't nobody know too much about them. You know what I'm saying? Jonathan Mingo is gonna be a rookie, so you got a dynasty league like I do. You probably want to pick him up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because he's gonna be one of those top wide receivers, I believe. Just a big build, big play capability, and as much as people talk about, he's not as fast. He's gonna be faster than what people think. I think he's only gonna improve in that with the technologies that these guys have and shit. Like it's just gonna be it's only gonna go up from there. So I like the two dynamic pair. I do also like they're able to make a little splurge here and get Von Bell on the safety side. Great defensive approach there. The new coach with Frank Wright is a great addition as well because he's supposed to be like a quarterback guru with Bryce Young. So that's good and dandy as well. I'm very interested to see how that plays out. Um, the thing that it's some sketchy situations here. There's some sketchy situations here. The cornerbacks, both 1 and 2, J.C. Horn and Dante Jackson, both of them come off injuries. Very sketchy there with their corners situation there. First game against the Falcons, I think it's going to get ugly there because they have that situation there on the back end with and I think the Falcons are going to be known for playing run game. They're going to be known for running the ball. They already shaped out to be that way, but they're going to get burnt on the back end by certain players like Pitts and Drake London, along with some more players that we talk about there. But I think that they have a good chance to blow those guys out the water their first game, especially have first quarterback. I think Bryce Young is going to play well. I think I think Jonathan Mingo has a great year, a great offensive rookie type year for both players. That's the only thing I see for that's good for this Panthers team. As far as the total, and let's talk about the strength of schedule, because one thing you'll see the difference in between the strength of schedule and the NFC West and the NFC South is these teams, they have the easier of the rest of the league in strength and schedule. And starting off with the Carolina Panthers, their strength of schedule is strength 27th. Obviously, both of these teams were pretty bad there. I'm very interested to see how this first few games is going to play out for them. Obviously, I talked about them playing Atlanta. They do play the New Orleans. They played the first few games against the opponents in their division, against Atlanta, against the Saints, at the house against the Saints. But then they go on the road again to play the Seahawks. Then they go back to the house, which is very strange there. Go back to the house to play Minnesota. Then they go to the Detroit, which they have a rest advantage against Detroit, even though they're going on the road there. They have the travel disadvantage, but for the most part, they will have a rest advantage against Detroit in that spot. Just about 2 points. Again, shout out to our guy, Will Capper, to give us a great situational matrix there for this breakdown that I'm giving y'all there as far as the first 5 weeks. As far as Carolina Panthers, I think that this first 5 weeks is going to be a little bit more tougher than what we see with the other teams in the NFC South. Now, this is probably light, though, as far as the opponents. But as far as the guys that I think they're going to lose to, like the New Orleans, like the Falcons and the Seahawks, by the time they get to Minnesota and Detroit, those two games, they could be losing all 5 of those games. And that being said, I don't want anything to do with the future market or anything with this team because I can't see a win within those first 5 games. So that's how I look at the Carolina Panthers. As far as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we gonna go chop right into this shit, man. No playing around. Chop right into it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers win total is at 6.5. Strength of schedule 22nd. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not gonna lie. I actually like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think I like every team in the NFC South. Now I think about it. I think I like every team in the NFC South. Um, and one less than others. I would say that one less than others. As far as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though, they went 8-10 last year. Obviously, with the boy Tom Brady, big retirement. LOL. You know what I'm saying? He's over with. You know what I'm saying? They lost in the wild card against Dallas. Sent their boy packing. Plenty of changes after that. Baker Mayfield is being the quarterback of the starting five, and that's automatically based off of Bruce Arians, his boy. He's been loving Baker Mayfield ever since Baker Mayfield was in college and all that good shit, whatever the case. And he's not even on the cast. He's not a GM. He's not a coach. Bruce Arians. He's just an advisor to Jason Licht, the GM for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and pretty much what he says goes still. And Baker Mayfield most likely is going to get the starting job there. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how Todd Bowles run his the coach in here. If he sees how Kyle Trask a little bit better, bro, he better be pulling the trigger on his ass. That's all I'll say. I think that is a little bit of edge of leadership based off of that, though. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Them cutting Leonard Fournette and signing Chase Edmonds. I like the way approach in the running back room. I'm not gonna lie. Rashad White obviously is going to get the number one spot there. So you possibly want to keep an eye out on Rashad White. I think they're going to be a run heavy type team. As much as you have the slinger in Baker Mayfield and a plethora of weapons in Mike Evans and Godwin and the other supporting cast there. I still believe that they have just enough to have a good running game. Now the offensive line is not as good as it was with the Tom Brady and the crew. So the offensive line did take a step back as well. Where did I put that shit? I forgot where I wrote that at. I remember that though. All right, whatever the case. But for the most part, what else? What else are we gonna talk about? Damn. Oh yeah. So yeah, I've talked about the first few games within all these teams, and the reason why is because it makes us believe that you have something to look forward to, and when you're betting these two teams and all these teams, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they first 5 games, they don't even have 5 weeks. They don't have 5 games. They only have 4 games. They have an early bye. So they go on the road against Minnesota. Then they play at the house against the Bears, at the house against the Philadelphia Eagles, where they will have a great rest advantage there. Then they go on the road with a small rest advantage against the Saints. After that, it's a bye. Then they play against Detroit, Atlanta, then the Bills at the Bills, and they pretty much go on a consistent roll of upscaling their competition. So they have a more of a trajectory of upscaling their competition while getting through the weeks. They're getting better in competition. So if you look at the early spots in their first few weeks, I kind of give them the edge to have that 4-0 record to start that bye. The only thing that I'm giving them a little bit of trouble with is that first game against Minnesota, because I don't know how to call Minnesota just yet. And that is the only thing that's giving me a little trouble there, because if Tampa Bay has a little bit off and, it's Baker Mayfield, or if it's Jameis Winston, or not Jameis, but Kyle Trask, it's going to be it's still the same amount of players like Godwin, who said he's going to, increase his play. I gotta have some type of respect for these guys. So I'm very interested to see how they play out. As far as where I can see them ending up, it's going to have a lot to do with that when it start to get to the accelerated part of the season there. But I like them to go over this total though. I do like them to go over this total. If I was to have a free bet, I definitely would be making the over in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 6.5. I would be doing that. But for right now, I'm not going to do that. And I tell you what I will be betting on. So we are 40 minutes in. If you have been watching me, man, I appreciate you, bro. We are going to give you the real deal, Holyfield. It's only right. I should put the bet up already. There it is. And this is what it is. So last year, the Atlanta Falcons, another 7-10 season for Arthur Smith. I'm a big Falcons fan. I'm gonna be a big transparent person with you guys. Last year, if you ask anybody that knows me, I didn't bet any. I probably bet the Falcons one time, one time, or twice, or some shit like that. But I tried my best not to bet them, especially when they was on a run to being like really one of the best ATS teams in the first 5 weeks or something like that. I didn't want to do any of that last year. This year is different. Now, like I said, it's another 7-10 season for Arthur Smith. We do know that. This is a big addition with the running back out of Texas and Bijan Robertson. One of the biggest subtractions was getting rid of Mariota. We seen him fold on the new Netflix documentary. We seen him fold, right? On the new Netflix documentary. I'm telling you, man, I didn't have to see what happened with Desmond. Now, let's be honest. Desmond has never played with a tight end, right? He's never played with Kyle Pitts. Never played with him, right? Let's talk about that. And also, let's talk about he hasn't had this type of offense either. He hasn't played with Bijan either. He hasn't played with a dynamic running back either. And also, the offensive line has got better with this Atlanta Falcons team. So now this offense is looking very much like another heavy run based offense. For sure, you're not looking for the passes. But that being said, Drake London is still one of the top wide receivers in fantasy because he still separates at a crazy rate to get open against the opponent. So you have that going for you, along with having a dynamic running back, and they're already telling us that Bijan is already generational. They're saying generational. I'm not going to go that far. We don't have to go generational. We can just say productive. That's going to open up another element to what we're going to see out of Desmond Ridder. Now, obviously, Desmond, he did start the last 4 games. We've seen enough. That's what people say out of Pitt. We've seen enough, right? I think the way the Falcons improve is not only with the guard from Syracuse and Matthew. I think they also improving there by having let me see here, like the way it's just shaping out for the Falcons. Now, the starting off here, this is the reason why I like the Falcons the most. The Falcons have they really have 2 tough games within the first 5 games. 2 tough games. First game is against Carolina at the house. Second game is against Green Bay at the house. The third game they play Detroit in Detroit. That's a tough game. The fourth game they play Jacksonville in London, right? They go on the international. They got to take the plane, international plane in London, right? After that, they play the Texans at the house. A huge rest advantage for the next game against the Washington Commanders. Then they go on the road, not that far though, to Tampa Bay. Then they play again, go on the road against Tennessee. Now that's a terrible rest advantage spot where our guy Real Will Capper is saying that they're gonna have a rest disadvantage, or actually a rest advantage spot. That's a crazy. Hold on, that's a crazy rest advantage spot right there, where they have a about 7 point rest advantage spot against the Tennessee Titans. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Falcons be able to play on the road against that team on week 8. They doing all that before they even have a bye, right? They doing all that before they have a bye. They have 2 more games. They go against Minnesota yet again. Then they go against the Cardinals at the Cardinals. Then they go on the bye. So the reason why I like them to win the South, because that bye is going to give them so much chance to get healthy, so much chance to reboot. Now you wondering what team do they play after that? They play the NFC South rivals. I believe it's going to be neck and neck, them and the Saints. And the Saints, after the bye, where I just kind of just going to slam dunk and say that they're going to win that game. I really believe that they're going to slam dunk and just win that game. So let's just say if they won that game, then they have to go on the road the following game and play outside a dome team. Have to play outside in the later form of the season against the Jets. They're probably going to lose that game. Following that, they have to play at the house in the dome again against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Possibly could win that game. I like that look. Then they have to play another outside game against the Carolina Panthers. That's going to be a tough game for the Atlanta Falcons. After that, they go back to the dome against the Indiana Colts. Then they go again outside against the Chicago Bears on week 17. So that is going to be interesting to see how the Atlanta Falcons have to take care of business down the stretch. That is going to be hard to see for sure, because they have to go outside. A dome team have to go outside towards the end of the season. We have to see how that shakes out. But I do like the Falcons to start off, because they have such good rest spots. And even though they have to have that that first 4 weeks international travel, a lot of people not want to bet them. I think that the Falcons are going to continue to play, pretty good, and it's going to be a tough game. One of the tougher games that they're going to have. They only play four games where they have tough playoff teams. So that's including the Saints, the Jets, and the Detroit. You know what I'm saying? So and the Jaguars. So you know what I mean. I think not themselves, of course. I'm tripping. But yeah, I like that. I like that look there. Yeah, bro. I can't help myself, bro. I said the Hawks and the Pacers. I'm definitely on some basketball shit right now. I'm definitely on some basketball shit, bro. I don't know what's wrong with me, bro. So, but shout out to the Falcons, man. I think the Falcons are. I think they are. So the problem is obviously Desmond Ritter, man. The problem is obviously Desmond Ritter. You're gonna have concern here with Desmond Ritter. Is the game plan with the coaching? You know, maybe the coaching's on thin ice. He just had his another 10 a 7-10 season. Maybe he's on thin ice. The end of the year schedule is the biggest concern for me. The end of the year schedule is the biggest concern. A dome team going outside, that's the biggest concern. I think situational spot there for the Falcons is going up against them. But that being said, they have the 32nd strength of schedule, the easiest strength of schedule. Outside of that factor there, like I said, the outside factor, which is going to give the next team the slight edge, I believe, with the Saints having the situational combined with the strength of schedule. They're going to have the better of the two schedule there, but both teams is going to be interesting here. I like the way that the Falcons did best on defense. You're not going to be able to double team Grady Jarrett like you normally could. I like David Amiata. I like Karras Campbell. I like that the change of Trey Anderson and Caden Ellis creates it's a good environment, a good veteran presence, and it seems like he doesn't have to do it by himself as far as Grady Jarrett, even though he will be the best player on the defense for the Falcons. The Falcons defense got a lot better. JC Bates seems like he was probably the biggest signing for the Falcons as well. Being able to get a good guy on the perimeter side of the ball. I like the way the Falcons just roll on the defensive side of the ball. So not only do I think the Falcons are going to be better offensively than the Saints, I think defensively they're going to be a lot better as well. And then if you think about it, if they have that great start to the season, they have a real easy season. They have a real easy season. Their toughest part is towards down the end of the stretch. It may not even matter at that point. As far as the way it works here, as far as the NFC South. So I'm taking the NFC South winners here, man. The Falcons to win the NFC South at plus 225. This is a big play for me, man. This is the way I'm going with the NFC. This is how we start in the NFL. This is the first bet here. We're doing the NFL, starting off with the Falcons. My team, man. I know I'm a little biased here. So what? I think that we did the right thing on the defensive side of the ball. Grady Jarrett doesn't have to do it by himself. I think David Amiata is going to show a big help. I think that the movement of Trey Anderson is going to help out as well. Again, with JC Bates, I think the Falcons did the right thing on the defensive side of the ball, let alone just keeping the offense better as well by drafting a generational running back. And I think that he will be a great running back. If you draft him in the first round, you ain't gonna be mad, bro. So shout out to that. Give me the Falcons to win the South. I'm not worried about too much of the game plan of the quarterback because I think that he has such great talent around him. The game plan should be easy for Arthur Smith not to fuck up. I am worried about the coaching though, and that's the truth. So the game plan, the coaching kind of does go same hand to hand, but I think the game plan should be simple, bro. If it becomes hard, then it is coaching problem, bro. It's a coaching problem for sure. Um, and then that's it. That's it for the Falcons. I fuck with the Falcons. I'm taking them in the first half. I mean, I'm not in the first half, but I'm taking them in the division there to win the division. Let's talk about this next team, this last team, and we'll end it off right here. It's the Saints, and I understand there's a lot of people that likes the Saints, and I'm kind of coming in at a negative aspect here, and the reason why here because I believe that people have high expectations for players that they've seen low mid performances for. Now let's talk about the good at first. So last year they went 7-10, just like the Falcons last year. One of the offseason big signings was Derek Carr, and one of the better signings I think was one of the guys that was winning at all aspects last year, Jamal Williams, 17 touchdowns, killing the game. They also added a stud in Keandre Miller and out of TCU. I like Keandre, being very shifty. We'll see how he plays out there. I like that his addition along with Jamal Williams is going to help out with the situation with Alvin Kamara. I think as soon as Alvin Kamara gets out of the suspension or whatever they be able to rule out, I know he's fighting an appeal. Whatever they rule out, they're going to do something as far as in permitting him back into the lineup once he is back in the game. So once he's back playing, so it's going to be hard to trust either one of those running backs or any of these running backs. I think, as far as fantasy, in my opinion, or any offense period, any offensive player in this team period, because there's just so many things that you have. You have so many things to just hang your hang your head down. You're not hang your hat on, but just be sad about. So Williams is obviously going to be the lead back to start off. The offensive line is possibly the worst Carr has seen. It's probably the worst Carr has seen. They only have Ryan Rinchek, which is the best that they got. After that, just drop off a cliff. They got the kid Trevor Penny, who's hopefully coming off of a great spot. It's a high it's a high risk situation for him this year, especially since they traded draft picks or draft rights for what the Eagles ended up drafting was Jalen Carter. So Trevor Penning definitely needs to pan out for the for the New Orleans Saints as far as the offensive line player there. So we got to see how that plays. But Derek Carr pocket presence sucks, bro. Let's be real, y'all. Like, let's be real. Derek Carr pocket presence sucks. He's not a good quarterback when it comes down to making plays. He has a good arm, don't get me wrong, but he will fall flat based off of just the pocket just collapsing. As soon as he gets up against a team that be able to create that rush, he's going to have issues. Their strength of schedule is great. Again, their strength of schedule is great, but they don't have the greatest first 5 games in strength of schedule, and that's what I look at. So as far as the first 5 games, they first play Tennessee at home. Then they go against Carolina on the road. Then they play Green Bay on the road as well. After that, they play Tampa Bay. Then following that, they play the Patriots. Now, obviously, those teams don't come out scaring you out front. They're most likely are going to be favorite in every one of those games, though. And that's what scares me the most, because they're not going to win all of those games. We know that for sure, for a fact. And that's what I got a great deal to go against the fact that you're going to expect Derek Carr to be elite, because they haven't had a great quarterback since Drew Brees. The backup quarterback is going to obviously be Jameis Winston. We've seen enough with Jameis, and we've seen how they treat Jameis. They're not going to give him the reins, so they're going to just keep playing this game. And its game right now is going to be, let's try to extend Derek Carr's career and play that he's that good. He's not that good. He's not that guy. The defense has actually gotten even worse, older. They're not even the same as they were prior. I think there may even be some sort of tension between the coaches as well. The fact that you still have the old regime as far as the defensive coordinator, and you got the head coach who's a defensive guy. It's kind of like one of those things that it may be some back and forth situation there. I don't know how this shit gonna play out, bro. And I'm sorry, in the offensive coordinator and defensive coach. But as far as it's going to be hard to tell as far as the first 5 games where the loss is going to lie. I really believe that the Green Bay team is going to be better than what people think. So that game is going to be a lot tougher for the New Orleans Saints. And I think that I think for sure the Patriots game is going to be probably the game that they most likely probably won't even be favored. They probably won't be favored in that game, or it's going to be a very close line there. So that's how I feel about the NFC South and the NFC West, man. I only got one bet. We did all this under an hour as well. Golly, that was crazy. I appreciate everybody for liking the content, commenting below. If you have any disagreements, make sure you tell me. I'm sorry if I said anything bad about your team. If I did, or whatever the case, I'm sorry. But for the most part, I think my team will win. It's going to be the Falcons, NFC South winners, plus 225. I think we did the right things on defense. We did the right things on offense. And then we did the right things on the quarterback spot. I think Desmond Ridder does deserve a actual go, and he will get that. If something happens, we do have backup and we have contingencies there. But I think the defense will be one of the top tier defenses in the NFL. And a lot of that has to do with their strength of schedule is going to be pretty easy. And the defense will be able to pay dividends and benefit off of that. So give me the Falcons to win the NFC. This has been Trot Wham on Twitter. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Who-Bangin Sports Talk. We appreciate y'all, man.